Hello everyone, Moose Torrent here, and today I want to talk about PvP in Elden Ring. Now there are days when I have a blast with Elden Ring PvP and I love it. Also, there's a lot of days when I don't. Invasions in particular are exceptionally awful, as you have all the bad things of a 1v1, but now it's 1v3. So I don't even do invasions anymore. But I mean, it's worth saying that Elden Ring PvP, it's not an MLG polished fighting game. We're gonna have janky stuff, and Chrome's gonna have to patch it. That's, to be expected. Dark Souls was the same way. All the Souls games had their problems, but Elden Ring's different, and I think it's mostly because of just how many broken weapons and attacks there are, and that it has the biggest, most mainstream audience ever. Before I get into it, let me shout out some patrons here. We have Keenan Lafferty, Corey Payne, Mondo Thornpaw, Alan Sherrill, Brian A. Martinez, Sebastian Mort Cypher, Jeanette and Paul, Skekky Art, Austin McKay, Ethan Roberts, Stu Nish, probably gonna mess this up, Salmadiptia Chakraborty, C, and Jeff K. Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it. So, like I was saying, though, Elden Ring, so unbalanced, it is insane. I was trying to make a list of broken stuff, and I think there's actually so much that you can actually have a fun little bracket of craziness. And if you're going busted build versus busted trash build, you can actually have some fun. If you're going bad build versus bad build, or unoptimized build, I should say, you're gonna have fun too as well, but no one is doing that. And this is a problem because it's really limiting what you can use in PvP to just the broken strats. I'd say 90% of the stuff in the game is almost worthless for PvP, like hammers or flails. I mean, they really got done dirty. They don't get a single meta placement, I'd say. They get no hyper armor or poise built in like Dark Souls 3 had. They have pretty bad dual wielding movesets. The claws and the whips moveset also got nerfed from Dark Souls 3. Claws lost their double rolling attack and the jumping X scissor. The whip lost its weapon art, which was awesome. With the advent of the Poise system in Elden Ring, you really can't use knives, or people aren't really going to do it when it's going to result in them getting traded to inflict status effects. I would always run a poison knife and knife people up with some poison, but it's really hard to do with this type of poise. And, even if the poise was like Dark Souls 3, you can inflict those statuses with a rapier or a katana and do more damage in the process. So, I mean, knives are basically just parry riposting weapons at this point. So those weapon classes got lowered from Dark Souls 3, and on top of that, there's a handful of broken weapons and weapon arts that are just better than everything else in their class. I'm not going to go through everything, but, we've seen the Moonveil, we've seen the Rivers of Blood, the Godskin Stitcher, the Scavenger's Curve Swords, Bleed builds, and Frost builds in general are just way too strong. The Glintstone Pebble and the Flaming Strike are two of the best weapon arts in the game. I mean, they're easy to land, and they do tremendous amounts of damage with the guaranteed 2-hit combo. At least the Pebble is a guaranteed 2-hitter. I use that one more than the Flaming Strike. I even have a video on my channel where I nearly one-shot someone with the Pebble, doing 1,692 damage with just one attack. How they haven't patched this yet is baffling to me. There's way more, but the point is that there's a tier of weapons and weapon arts that are better than everything else, and it's by a lot. So we really need a patch to have any chance at a fun PvP setup. Another thing, maybe even the most damaging thing to Elden Ring PvP, is how popular Elden Ring is. I mean, I think it probably even hurt the PvE, depending on how you look at it. I remember playing Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and that was just a really special feeling. You really felt the mystery and the atmosphere. Even in the community, people were slowly finding things out, these secrets. It just really felt like an experience. It was great. And the same thing kind of happened in PvP. People would just, just try random crap, and it was a blast discovering what worked and just playing in a hugely diverse pool of builds. And there was also broken stuff, of course, but a lot less. And by the time you get to Elden Ring, now there's 5,487 YouTubers trying to get views by using Elden Ring and just soullessly posting what they think will get the most views. And of course, it's always the most broken stuff. IGN literally posted a video of PvP tips, telling people to use glitches. Oh, they're great. And since the audience has the highest amount of normies now, they just eat it up and they take over the space. Tons of people aren't even playing Elden Ring. They're just going online to find out how to break it. And they're slapping the hell out of the game with, the busted trash that's in there that has not been patched yet. Honestly, an easy mode would be better than these broken weapons because they destroy invasions for everyone, not just the people who want the easy mode. I'm showing a lot of invasion clips here, but what made me want to start recording these is 90% of the time it was just 3 guys spamming rivers of blood at me. Oh god, it's horrendous. And really all you can do to that is instantly die. If this game had the same audience Dark Souls had, it would probably be way more fun because people would use less of the broken stuff. We'd find the broken stuff at a slower rate, and From could patch it easier, having less to contend with at a time. Now it's like the game is released and within an hour, it's just people post it and then everyone flocks to the broken builds. We pretty much lost that time of discovery where people are just using everything, which is probably the most fun time to play the game. And I don't really know what you do about that. We don't we can't just make the game less successful. So I don't know. I guess all we could really do is try to get From to do patches better. Not patches the character, but patching the bad stuff. There are some other things I wanted to mention too. Another being how annoying PvP is because of the spammy strats. There's a lot of meta setups that can consistently kill you from full health with just a stupid spam if you mess up 1 dodge or 2. There's dual katana, naginata, scavenger's curve, sword, or any bleed build basically. 3 hits and you're dead, right? Mess up once, it's all over. There's the frost version of that. Great sword or ultra great sword crouch spam, which is super fun. Throw in some storm stomping to catch you when you're trying to roll as well. Also really fun. Roar spam is not that big a deal, but it's also a pain if you're a longer range build because they can throw out that roar like nothing, or they could use it on their normal spam to hit you if they know you're going to roll out of range as well. So the roar I think is deceptively spammy and annoying. And don't forget people dual wielding spears, great spears, halberds, or rapiers, just doing the roll, catch, poking. It's just the same thing over and over again. It just gets annoying. And of course, dual wielding straight or curved swords. Dual wielding is in general probably way too strong, but also the Hone Bolt and the Bestial Sling, that's super spammy. Magic in general, you can spam it, and that's pretty insane. I mean, I could probably go on for hours. Maybe not that long. So I'll just end it there. But let me know your favorite spammy setup in the comments. And another thing I kind of mentioned earlier, but I would like to see tweaked and I want to talk about is the Poise. I think it's a problem how it's set up because there are about 5 armors you can use that have massive Poise, and that's it. There's like a huge drop off from those 5. And there's about 500 armors in the game. You can only use 5. So I think that sucks because it's like all you see is veterans, bull goats. I mean, there might as well just be 2. Everyone likes those the most, apparently. And you pretty much have to use the bull goat's talisman, which lowers talisman variety as well, which isn't as big a deal, but is also kind of annoying. I know they kind of just went back to the similar poise system Dark Souls had, but where you have poise and weapons that deal poise damage, and if they deal more poise damage, then you have poise and get staggered. But I think Dark Souls 3's system was much better, and I'd like to see that put in. But I think you can also easily fix this system too. What you need to do is give those super heavy armors negative effects like Demon Souls did. For each piece you're wearing, you regain stamina just a little slower. I think this is a decent way to add a drawback to these beastly pieces of armor while still allowing them to be very useful in terms of poise. Hell, I'd take it even further though and add another negative effect on the chest pieces and maybe some of those helmets that are extra large. And I'd make it so that as long as you have that piece of armor on, period, you're going to be fat rolling no matter what your equipment is. I think that sounds really cool and might even make fat rolling a viable playstyle. I know people might not like that idea of negative effects, so at least we got to boost the poise on the other pieces of armor a little bit. And I don't know, overall it's just frustrating to see how bad PvP is in Elden Ring. Depending on the day, I could go from a 2 out of 10 to a 5 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10, because it gets crazy and it can get super fun, but like I said, also nasty. Especially since they figured out a lot of this stuff before, like hammers, and it's just like, why didn't you just take what worked and transfer it to Elden Ring? Why'd you make it worse? Frustrating for sure, but I know PvP isn't a priority from FromSoft. At the same time, though, I keep thinking about the end of Dark Souls 3 when we got that dual arena, and I just expected them to start from that polished point and add on to it, make it even better. I do think we will eventually get a patch because the dual arena in those good patches for Dark Souls 3 came later on. It wasn't that close to release. So we probably will get another patch for Elden Ring that does make it a lot better. I do think they need to patch the broken stuff though as soon as possible, like just the main broken stuff. And then eventually we'll get to like a big patch that fixes hammers and just about everything. Adds the dual arena. In the meantime, I'm probably just going to do about one build a week like I've been doing. I'm not really taking Elden Ring PvP too seriously. Maybe I'll use the more broken builds first and save my more interesting builds for later on when we hopefully get this super special awesome patch that hopefully is coming. I hope. But until then, like I said, I'm just going to be messing around. Maybe I'll start up my Discord again, which I made and lost track of, and try to get some people together who just want to have fun using weird, unoptimized builds. Sounds like a pretty good idea, actually. I know people did say they'd be into that type of thing before. But anyways, I don't need to beat a dead torrent, so for the most part, I think people probably get where Elden Ring is at. I don't know, I just feel like talking about it. And I know a lot of people were asking me to talk about it as well. So there it is. Just kind of a cursory discussion of the topic. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. This is Moose Torrent, and I'll be back with another video for you guys shortly.